Okay, let us see the demonstration of all the functionalities that we have implemented in our Python package, Cortex Jupyter. So as we can see that the Jupyter notebook has been loaded into its default URL, and you can see that all of these notebooks, files, and folders are all fetched from the actual Cortex server. So let's actually check in the CyberDuck and make sure that it's actually fetching from there. So as you can see, these files have been fetched from there. And let me create a new Jupyter notebook and name it as test notebook. And let me refresh here and to make sure that it's actually created the notebook in the Cortex server. And let me just write few temporary methods, and I'll save whatever I've written. And here you can see that it has actually created a checkpoint. Let's double check that it's created a checkpoint in our Cortex server as well. So as you can see, it has created a single checkpoint. Now let me write another method, and save. And we can see that it has created another checkpoint, and the same thing can be seen here as well. Let me revert to any of the checkpoint. So as you can see that my notebook has reverted to the previous checkpoint that I've created. And let us see what happens when I delete this notebook. So as you can see here, it has disappeared because I deleted it. Let me double check here, and you can see that it is deleted here as well. And an API layer which contains method that you can use to interact with the Cortex server. That is, let's say you want to save a file to Cortex server from your code, or save your pre-trained machine learning models to your Cortex server. At the same time, we have also implemented methods that can be used to download any of the pre-trained models that is present in your Cortex server, and start fitting and predicting the model without having to train the model all over again. So let's see a demonstration of that. How to upload a file to your Cortex server. So you can use direct upload from Jupyter itself. Let me just grab some file. So let's just see. So this is a CSV file that I'm loading, and you can see that the CSV file has been loaded. And let me double check here that it's loaded. So you can see that the CSV file has been saved to the Cortex server. And let me also download this locally just to show the download functionality. And you can see that I can download it without any hassle. So yeah, so these are some of the functionalities that we have built and supported with the help of Cortex Jupyter Python package. Given three notebooks which demonstrates how you can use the methods, which is the read data, read model, write data, write model, for three different machine learning and deep learning packages, which is Keras, PyTorch, and TensorFlow. Because of the time constraint, I'll be demonstrating just for Keras. So let's see the demo. Let me execute all the import statements. So these are the methods that we have implemented to interact with the Cortex server to either read data or write data, or even read a pre-trained model and write a pre-trained or save a pre-trained model to Cortex server. So we have already loaded a data set into our Cortex server called as ionosphere, so which you can see here. So this is the data that we'll be using for our demo. So here I'm defining the model. Let me load a pre-trained model which is called as Keras model to the Cortex server, and let me see if it has been loaded. So you can see that it is loaded. Now let me just for demonstration purpose just load the pre-trained model from the Cortex server, so that we can use and use the pre-trained model without having to train it all over again. And yeah, so here we are using the existing model that we loaded from the Cortex server to make a prediction. As you can see, it works properly. And so here is a demonstration of how you can just use this read data method to read the data, read any file that is present in your Cortex server, as an example of how you can write any of the data that you've used to the Cortex server. So I've created something called processed input. Let me double check if it's here. So you can see that it's been loaded to S3. So yeah, this way you can actually use these methods without having to perform any additional changes in the configuration file. This is actually very easy to use these without, because it kind of avoids having to change anything in the configuration or an installation of any other Python packages. So using these methods which come with the Python package Cortex Jupyter, you can read and write models or data. So these are the models that come out of the box from our Python package. So you don't have to install any other additional package nor make any changes in the configuration file. And as you can see that it can easily be used to interact with your Cortex server to either read or write any file or model for that matter.